Hey, welcome to the new edition of She Said What She Says. I'm your guest host, Kay Ray. I am standing in for your wonderful, wonderful host and creator. She's still on break. So today we are going to talk to some of the players from the original 2010 USA women's tackle football team. They were gold medalists. It was the first time USA had a women's tackle football program. So first, we're going to be joined by Cam Marks. T, bring her on in, please. Hi, Cam. Thank you for joining us on She Said What She Said, coming in all the way from Atlanta. For guys, I'm in Vegas doing this. So, yeah. Cam, how you doing?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good. In 2 weeks' time, the fourth women's team USA will, get together. No, they get together next week and then play in 2 weeks, and try to bring home the fourth gold medal. But you were part of the inaugural in 2010, and that's just amazing, absolutely amazing to me. Can you tell us about yourself, your story, like who you are, where you're from? I know all of this because you're my friend, you're my bestie, but everybody else in the world doesn't. So go ahead, Cam.
Where to start? Well, I grew up south suburbs of Chicago, so I was there for quite a while. Been down here in Atlanta for about 5 years now. Football wise, man, it's been a long journey. Started playing with the Chicago Force in 2007. Played for them for 11 years and then came down here. And now I played a season and a half with the Washington Prodigy. We'll see where it goes from there. But yeah, definitely I've had a lot of opportunities because of football, for sure.
What made you in 2010? Because with the force, you were a force to be reckoned with. Like defensive player of the year. You was doing your thing. What made you in 2010 decide, what, let me go and try, before we answer this question, before Taz is in the building. T, bring Taz in. Oh snap, we got the three K's in the house. So bring it to the stage. So this is Keisha Brooks, aka to the football world. This is Taz, the Tasmanian Devil. These two you don't want to be around. When Marks is playing offense and Taz on, no, you don't want to be on defense because they coming for that ass. Um, they dangerous. And then don't have them play defense together. Don't have Taz as the DT and Marks as the DN. Jesus, all I can say is I practiced against them and they hurt me. So I was so thankful that I had to play in real life game speed with them. So yeah. So the question that I'm gonna ask you both is, y'all were balling in 2010. What made you guys decide to try out for Team USA? Marks, you go first, and then Taz, you come in after her, please.
So the thing about it is that first year there wasn't really a tryout, right? So they talked about and they were talking about how they wanted to do this thing, and you actually had to kind of submit an application. And then there were a group of coaches and the people from USA Football were involved, and they kind of based their decision off of game depth and stats and things like that. Um, why did I choose to do it? I mean, whoever would have thought that you would have had the opportunity to go to Sweden to play football? I mean, the opportunity to spend 2 weeks and actually know what it feels like to be like a D1 player or an NFL player where like your whole life was football for 2 weeks. Like, I don't know many people that wouldn't love to have that opportunity.
Oh, guess who else has joined in? Don Peterson, PD.
It's a whole family reunion.
Nothing like a text right before saying, "What are you doing?"
Join us. Look, PD agreed to this, and she like, look, Heifer, it's 50 minutes, and I'm at a work event, so I can jump in. I'll be jumping in and jumping out. You better get me while you can. Thank you, PD, for joining us. PD is like, oh my gosh, she's the O line. Like, you don't want to. When I talk about Marks and Taz, PD the other side, you just don't want to. So yeah, they just don't want to. So the question that Marks just answered, that Taz is going to answer next, and then you will answer is: you were balling in 2010 for the Chicago Force. What made you decide to join Team USA? So, go ahead, Taz.
What up, Kay? You know you're gonna get it for using that name.
I know.
Just know you're gonna get it. Just know you're gonna get it.
I
No,
know.
you didn't. No, you didn't. What made me try out for 2010 Team USA? Actually, it's like a childhood dream. I actually thought I would be representing Team USA for basketball. Shut up, Mark. I'll take you out any day. That was always a childhood dream, was that I was going to represent Team USA for basketball, but somebody else had a different route for me. So thankfully, with football, like Mark said, there really wasn't a tryout. It was all based on game film. And I was actually honored to get that call. I was, so surprised, but very blessed and thankful I got to represent with some amazing women. Some what can I say on this podcast? Some not so amazing, but they kind of turned into pretty good people. Some people we really don't like.
She said. It's called She Said What She Said, and you can say whatever the hell you want to say.
Some Mickey Fickies that we really didn't like, that we rather like just knock a hoe out and concuss, but we had to pretend like we wanted to like them for that moment because the mission was gold. So
we learned to like them afterwards, though.
We accepted the fact that they weren't the total shitball made them out to be by playing them for all the. That's what that. How am I supposed to still hate you because you actually are a decent teammate? There's a lot for us to wrap our heads around, for sure.
Absolutely.
Especially,
it was a dream come true. One of the proudest moments in my life to be able to put on that red, white, and blue.
Awesome. How about you, Petey?
Oh, am I up now?
Yes.
Yeah. So for me, I was an alternate for the under-21 national team for field hockey, and kind of decided that if I'm not going to get paid to play a sport, I can't afford to pay to keep playing that one. So I got away from a lot of sports for a while, then got into football, and they said, hey, we're going to have a women's national team. And I was like, okay, that sounds amazing. And again, being fortunate enough to know that it was going to be based on game film, right? So yeah, there's always politics in sports, but when your film don't lie, right? We hear that all the time, especially when we're getting yelled at. Yes. Film don't lie. And the coaches that put that together put a lot of time into actually looking at different players and making sure. And I would say that, I know that there's a lot that goes, I'm not taking anything away from the athletes that came after, but that 2010 team wasn't just about your on the field play. It was also about the person that you were and being that representation. And so being able to be one of the ones that was considered to be one of the people that you want to actually represent your country and kick everybody else's ass at the same time. So we kind of did it nicely. That was huge. That was a really big thing. And knowing that I was going to be going with my sisters, that was huge. We were there, we represented, the force was well represented. And, we were great ambassadors for the sport at that time.
I think you bring up a good point, though, because, something we should point out, the coaches for 2010 team were our coaches, right? They were the coaches from the Chicago Force. So we took a lot of shit from a lot of people about whether we deserved to be there or not because, they only picked us because we were their players and blah, blah, blah. And then 2013 happened where they actually had a tryout. And the Chicago Force players went in there and beat everybody's asses. And it was, I guess y'all actually deserved the spots that you had in 2010. So let's just make that clear that it's not a single Force player that was on any of these teams that hadn't earned a spot.
Yeah, we all deserve to be for sure. And 2013 was a wake up call. They decided they wanted to actually do. We started doing some full contact stuff we're all used to. There were a lot of people that were not used to that and didn't perform as well. And a lot of people that what Coach K said, you got to go see the Wizards, get some courage. Like a lot of people weren't as brave as they thought they were.
They got introduced to the Vidro.
Yeah.
And not just that, but I want to tag in on what Tim says. If you think about the top players across the league, whichever league you're talking about, the force is always going to be represented. So they hated to play us because they knew they weren't going to play some pansy ass females that, oh my God, you're going to touch me. Like they knew the hit squad was coming. They knew the Legion was coming on the defense, and they didn't like that. So definitely want to, concur with my sisters that we deserve to be on that team. Any team that they put together. They lucky the force still isn't playing because we probably would still dominate that roster.
We still got representation. Darcy came. Darcy got her citizenship, and Darcy Leslie is about to go wreck some shop.
And that's a testament to the force and our program. The fact that the program is not in existence, but you still have high caliber players that can still show up and represent. I mean, my little bro is still out there playing. I know it's not the same because I ain't there on the bookend with her, but I'm so proud to just see her still out there representing. And it's still, she may be wearing a different jersey, but it's still that force blood running through her.
And it's the last song up.
Yeah, I think she has lost her everlasting mind. Over 40. It's time. But hey, CrossFit got
how old I was.
Crazy.
TV timeout. You know how old I was when I last played for the national team?
Yeah, I thought your ass was nuts too.
Yeah. Okay.
And do you know how old I was when we stopped playing in 2017?
I thought you was nuts too. Look, believe me, I thought y'all was nuts at 35 when who was that? Who tore my ACL? Going against somebody in that damn V drill.
We can just blame Mary.
Oh my God. I'm gonna tell her. I'm gonna make sure she sees this. Mary, we love you. People don't know who you are, PD. So can you give, just a small snippet about who you are, and then Taz, when PD done, you tell us about, yourself. Yeah.
I live in Chicago. I played for the 7 to 2000. Was it 2014 was our last year?
17
was our, no, well, okay, 17, whatever. And then I tried to retire, and then Pittsburgh was like, hey, you want to come play for us? And I was like, yeah, I don't know. And they're like, well, we'll make you the scholarship player that some receivers on our team were. Jay Gray, love you. And so I got to be a scholarship player. So as an O-lineman, you don't ever get to be on scholarship. So it was kind of cool to be that scholarship player that got to go in and play with the team. And Pittsburgh's a first class program for sure. So I played with Pittsburgh for a year, and I was seriously done, not going to play anymore. And then Angelique Smith's like, hey, come play for Cali for a year. And then I got, Angie Banstra. Yeah, so I was like, I just have to show up for games. I don't need to there's no film. Really, that was the thing. I don't have to sit through film and get yelled at. Cool, I'll fly out and just play in some games. So I did my 1 year with the Cali War, and I was like, no, I can seriously be done now. So I played from 2007 to 2019 and loved it, 3 times on the national team with my foster sister Marks, a couple times with Taz, and I mean we wrecked some stuff. They talk about the people you meet through sport and meet people you would never ordinarily get a chance to interact with, and then eventually call friends and family. And I'm on the call with 3 of them right now, so that's why when you were like, hey, what do you do? When you were calling me, I'm like, are you butt dialing me? What's going on? And she's like, hey, you're calling this call. Marks and Taz are going to be there. And I was like, I guess. I mean,
man, you wouldn't have missed this opportunity.
Hell no, I would not.
I will let y'all know that I talked to Sammy, and she's like, "Fuck, I am, I am underwater with work. I gotta get this done. Damn it!"
Oh, QB's
So
got to work now. QB's got to work now. She don't know what that's like, so I can understand why that's a challenge.
Sammy's doing good work. Leave her alone.
oh yes. All right, go ahead, Taz. Tell us who you are.
My name speaks for itself. I'm Taz. Damn it. No. That's how I introduce myself. Now, Taz Brooks from. Am I from Chicago? Can I say that?
No, you're from Rock. You're from Detroit.
Go ahead, Michigan. What's wrong with you?
Like who hate? What are you talking about, Rockford? So
What
I was
that-
born. I was born in Chicago, but I wasn't raised in Chicago. We're gonna say that.
Okay.
I had the privilege of playing with the Force from like 2005, I think. Took a couple of years off, and then came and played in the last year. What's the other question? What's the rest of it?
Just talk about why you're.
What, Petey?
We
Talk
just
about
want to know
what?
who you are.
What?
We just want to know who you are.
Oh, I'm just me. I'm that person that you don't want to piss off. I definitely enjoy introducing myself accordingly on the field, off the field. Yeah, that's it. It's really hard to turn that Taz off. As K Ray kind of mentioned earlier, she tried, drop that name that don't nobody else know. You have to be special to know that other name because everybody else know Taz. In the real world, in the virtual world, in the field, on the gridiron. But yeah, I'm just Taz.
I try to sneak it in. I was trying to sneak it in. So, what have you guys been doing since football? Taz, you've been gone the longest. So, what have you been doing?
I think. So I've been finding myself going on meditation quest journeys, and that's a bunch of shit. No,
You know what?
I couldn't even get quest out, right? No, it's been difficult to be honest to transition, not be able to go practice with my sisters. When people ask me like what I do, and I was like, "Can I play professional football?" It's like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, don't go there because I can show you if you want to learn." And to show pictures like to bosses and stuff has been cool, but more so kind of getting into my other passion, which is real estate and commercial lending. So I've been doing that as well. Delving into some things. I'll let you guys in on it. Tune in. Got some good things coming up. But yeah, that's what I've been doing outside of football.
Awesome.
Still introducing myself accordingly though.
I still remember my first practice. Y'all heard me.
And we had to make sure you was gonna stick around.
Yeah, not worth
I
learning
did.
first hit. I'm just saying.
Listen,
I did stay around. I told y'all was stuck with me for life. Look,
clearly.
yeah, it's been 10 years. 11. I was only on the team for 2011 and 2012, and I am still stuck to y'all.
Well, look, at least you was on the team. I came across some real imposters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, Marks. I was gonna come to you. Somebody was like, "Yeah, I played with Marks. I was Marks' backup." I was like, "Oh yeah, what year did you play?"
How far back?
There was Marks' backup, right, on defense.
When did I?
Exactly, how far back? And I said, "Oh, really? So, what year were you playing?" And she said 2011. And I looked. I said, "So you don't know who I am?" I almost want to say, "Google me, bitch," but I said, "You don't know who I am?" And she's like, "No, you were on the team."
Oh hell no. That we met when they showed up to the picture, right? Like all our teammates, like when we had our team picture, you're like, "Oh shit, who are you?"
You know what, Petey? That brings up my point. I went to search to see a picture of the 2010 national team. Do you know nothing comes up? It's two pictures. One of one when you guys are all holding the championship trophy, and the other is coming out with the flag. There is no team picture from 2010.
There is.
There is.
I I am upset with Team USA. So I'm gonna be talking to our wonderful Oki,
Huh.
finding out, you're part of you're part of management now with, you're on the board.
Listen, I can give you some other people to talk to.
Yeah, why is this not out there? You guys did something great. Was it 2010 or was it 2013 that y'all won 106-6?
107
2013.
177.
versus Germany on July 4th.
Yeah. 177.
21 points, right?
And the funny
And
thing is, like, it didn't matter that we put up 107 points. People were talking more about the fact that we got scored on.
Yeah. What linebacker did their job?
yeah,
I'm
I've
not sure
always
whose
wondered.
fault that was.
It wasn't anybody from Chicago.
I feel like it was that girl from Michigan, Plummer.
Ooh, shots fired.
Wasn't it?
Shots fired, Plummer. Oh, she, I'm gonna say this about Plummer. On the field, she's a fucking asshole. But that one time we played Western Michigan and we went out afterwards, she was actually a nice chick. And I told her, I'm like, you're an asshole on the field. I do not fucking like you.
You want to
But
know
okay, we gonna drink this
people
beer.
that we don't like on the field and then off the field? I mean, Rusty Sowers. It was like the devil spawned. And then we went to Sweden and we came back and, I mean, that's the homie now.
Springer.
Her and her damn sisters.
Right? Like, just Springer. I'm like, oh, hell, not roomie with Springer. Roomie. I'm like,
I had a room with Rusty.
So that was weird too, to come on the team in 2011, and then Springer comes 2012, and I heard all of these horror stories about her and how big she was and how she could just carry. She was like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. She just kept going, and now you're on a team with us. I'm supposed to like you, but then you take out
Linda.
Isn't she the reason why Linda Boucher can't play football anymore? Like, I don't know how I like you. I don't.
Well, so the interesting thing about it is that
Springer's the one that broke. Springer's the one that broke Linda. That was because Linda tried to tackle her.
Yeah. But no, the interesting thing about it, and it's something that, the newer teams, even 13 team didn't have to deal with that we did. Women's football was not a nationwide thing when 2010 happened, right? You knew your teammates. That was it. You maybe knew somebody off of a team that was within your proximity, maybe one or two people, but you didn't know people that played for Boston. You didn't know people that played for Dallas, that played for Cal. You didn't know any of these people. So it was like you walked into the experience, you had your sisters, and then you had all these people that you had spent your entire career hating because you're constantly banging heads with them. And that's where Coach Mack, he was really like the one that made us a team, right? Because he was the hugs and high fives coach. And we had this thing that we had to do basically every day, right? It's called the onion. And what it was that he would pick a position group, and that position group would lay in the middle of the floor, right? Head to head. And then he'd pick another position group, and they would put their head between the legs of the people that were on the floor already. And you kept working your way all the way
leg. I mean,
until you had the entire team laying on the floor. And then you would close your eyes and you would just laying there, middle of this hotel room floor. They would dim the lights, and Mac would just talk. Like, he would talk about the experience. He would talk about, coming together as a team. He would just talk. And it's like, we joked about it. We made fun of it. We talked shit about it. But that was one of the things that, like, I really stuck with everybody that walked away from that team. And in going through that, you now knew, we 45 players had the opportunity to know 44 other women's football players that weren't necessarily on our team. And so we were the reason that I feel like the women's football community has was actually even created, that there is even a women's football community now, that it's not just siloed teams.
Yeah, it could have gone real bad. It could have been like, hey, we succeeded despite ourselves, and everybody was willing to put it aside for that time. The animosity built up for a long time, and then even it just growing the game, right? Being able to support other teams and answer questions and help other teams overcome certain adversity that they've had, is that, hey, we're all going through the same struggle. When we get on the field, yeah, we want to play hard against each other and we want to win, but we don't have to do it at the expense of, right? We figured that out. It doesn't need to be at the expense of. There's still some players I don't like that even were on the team with me that, had I had the opportunity to, like, at the expense of, maybe I would. Not gonna lie. But it did bring the community together. It made it smaller. It made it where you're, at my wedding, I had players flying in from other states, like that kind of piece that you definitely wouldn't have seen before 2010. And because the coaches really did a lot of work on personalities as much, like we had a lot of elder statesmen, right, that maybe weren't at the prime anymore, but were still great football players that understood what they were building in 2010, understood the groundwork that they were laying in 2010. And then the people that came back to 2013 built off of that. And 2013 was, no matter what, I know that 2013 was the greatest team ever put together. Like, I would put that team up against like a lot of teams because, there was nobody on that team that couldn't have started, and we had to take turns because it was literally 45 starters on that team, but 45 people that knew they were all starters, were comfortable with the fact that not everybody gets to start, and we're super support. We had our kicker got 2 personal fouls because he just wanted to hit somebody. Like, our kicker on kickoff, like, hit somebody so hard they threw a flag because kickers aren't supposed to hit people, right? That was 2013, but the precedent was set by 2010 for sure.
Wow.
Some of the best women that ever played this game on that team, though. Hands down at every single position. I would, if there was a women's Hall of Fame.
Yep.
Think about the quarterback position, just Jenny. Come on.
Yep.
And
Schmidt,
that
Kelly, and Sammy, man, like that
Lord.
was. In any team that tried to game plan, it wouldn't have mattered because we had 3 very different quarterbacks that were all studs. So I was like, okay, well, you can play for this one, you can play for that. It doesn't matter because we'll just put a different one in, and now you're still screwed.
Exactly. Stack the box if you want to. Have you met our receivers?
I know I don't want to go against our O-line.
But let's be real, like, defense is where it was at. Because, we literally gave up no points in 2010. It's just to be clear.
We gave you a lot of opportunities to give up no points because you scored so fast. You got to get back on the field quick.
Yeah, y'all kept us tired. Appreciate it. Until the score got ridiculous, and then we started running power every single play, and then we were still breaking off 50-yard runs.
We would be running power. We'd be throwing receivers in there to try and slow it down, and we couldn't help it. Like, I can't not hit you as an offensive lineman. And the second, like, the people that weren't the starters aren't going to not hit you. So, it was like we had the Austrian girl was like the fainting goat who would just fall down at your feet and try and trip you. Like, she wasn't going to take on the block. She was just going to fall down and hope that you tripped over her.
Like, we were literally in our big package for the entire second half of most games, and we were rotating not just running backs, but receivers back there too. Yep. DBs. Anybody that had even the least bit of speed, skill players.
Yep.
Got an opportunity to run the ball. And that was just because Kaneki had a theory, right? You don't play down to your competition. We are all there for a reason. We all deserve to be there. We got there on our merits. We need to play to the best of our ability. And if that means that we run the teams into the ground, then so be it. And this is where shit gets dicey because this is the reason why he wasn't asked back.
Yep. The only time we really did the big fat fuck you was to Canada, but they kind of deserved it because they talked a lot of shit. And that was when we called the timeout.
we weren't there to, like, just be the team 21-7. That's not what we were there for. We were there to prove a point.
Best athletes on the field, hands down, no matter what you want to do. And, again, we weren't doing anything crazy. We just played really, really good football. And you can't be mad when you keep trying to throw the ball and our defense keeps catching it and scoring touchdowns. I'm not going to tell one of my fucking corners who works their ass off to get an interception or a linebacker, or like if somebody recovers a fumble on defense, hey, just be nice to the other team, don't score. Hey, you want to be better? Do better. Don't expect us to do worse so you can feel better about yourself. Not everybody gets a ribbon.
Something that you
Can't hear anything you're saying.
Nope, we're all good, right? Hey, right.
Oh yeah. She look high as hell right now, don't she? She need to share that good. She got her mouth all open.
She a baby, so
she probably still has no clue that she's frozen right now.
Nope, they're probably listening up. Hey,
Taz,
you know what, Taz? Pull up K-Ray's, remember when we called K-Ray Pumpkin? Why don't you throw that nickname at her?
Gotcha. Hey, Pumpkin.
Nope.
Taz, you still get the same reaction when you tell people that you play football?
Oh yeah. And I laugh at it. Like so they had the championship on ESPN, right? With the Boston Renegades and the Minnesota Vixens. Come on. That wasn't even a championship game.
God.
I mean, let's be right. Boston ain't had a championship game since
we played them. Yeah, right. And somebody like did the screenshot and was like, "Hey, is this the league you got? You played in?" And I had to look like, because I saw Vixen. I'm like, can't no way in hell they be on Division Tier 1. Like, it can't be the same one. I looked and I saw the Renegades. So I was like, yeah, that's the league.
Yep. Remember, we were just a pit stop. On their way to the championship.
Right. I was telling somebody that I really wish that all the leagues can kind of like come together so that it would be a better market for the women overall. And somebody actually asked me about I can say what I want to say, right? Dallas team that started their own league, and somebody's like, so what's your thought about that, Taz? I said, if you want to be very honest, I said I think it was a very poor bitch ass move. That's like, why you say that? I said, so you start a league so that you can always win the championship. I said, so how does that say that you really are a true better team when everyone in your league is easily practice? They're not even practice players, so how can you say you left a really competitive league to start your own league and you've won every championship since your inaugural season? Like, come on now. But
growing and it's gonna require people like, hey, you know what, if we're all W caliber that we were football players, right, I'll be making some pretty decent stars on our team. Football's gonna take work. Everyone's willing. Just because you play out good, nobody owes you. Nobody gave us anything, and I feel like some of the good players now feel like they're owed. Like, what do I get out of it? We get to play football. Figure out a way to make it better for the next one, and that's what I think 2010 was very much about, was making it better for the next one. And it carried on for a while, and then it got to the point where the next generation of it was like, oh yeah, you've earned this. You've gotten us good practice fields. You've gotten us good coaches. You've gotten us good opportunities. We're owed this now. And you're not owed anything.
One of the downsides, I think, to this whole community being grown, that you do now have those players that are people. Let me be clear. People can play where they want to play, right? Like, I mean, I don't live in DC. I play for DC. I don't play for DC because I'm ring chasing. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that one of my closest friends owns the team. I felt like I still had something to give, be it, on the sideline or whatever, an opportunity to give back to these young kids now that are out here. I mean, the age has decreased significantly. I remember when we started playing, I was 26 and I was one of the youngest people on the team. Like, these kids now are 19, 20, 21 years old when they're starting this game. So I have my reasons why I don't play for my home market team. It's not because I'm ring chasing, but as the community has grown, you see that happening now, and you see more people coming from wherever. And oh, well, this team can afford to fly 5 players in from wherever to come play, versus other people like, ain't nobody paying me to go to DC. I'm paying to go to DC because that's where I want to be. But I do think it's one of the negative things. And if we're being honest, like, we did it on the force. We had people that came from USA that joined our team and were a part of what we were doing, and it's fine. And like I said, people are allowed to play where they want to play, but I do think you started having these kind of super teams created, and I think that's really what started setting the Chicago's and the Pittsburgh and the Boston and the DC's and the Dallas teams above and beyond everyone else, because you're not just pulling from your own pool of players anymore.
Yeah, and the logistics too. Like if you played for New York, right? It's expensive to play for New York, not just because you could live in New York and New York could be your closest team, but it could cost you $30 to go to practice.
Yeah.
On top of the fact that you're paying to be on that team, and that's where we talk about we have to find that if we do find sponsorship, it has to be equally shared, and then give everyone an equal opportunity to build that good team. Right.
Well, I mean, if you're going to have a sponsor, then they need to be sponsors.
Yep.
Right? Like, and this is where I'm going to start to get myself in trouble real quick.
Like
we
actually
had them telling us that we had to put tape over stuff, right? Because in the WNFC, Rydell is the sponsor for helmets. Adidas is obviously a big sponsor. If you didn't have Adidas cleats, or you didn't have Adidas gloves, or you didn't have a Rydell helmet, you were actually supposed to put tape on your stuff, because these people are our sponsors. These people ain't giving me shit.
If they didn't give it to you, they can't say that.
So I'm like, this is just a hill that I'm going to die on. Because if you want me in a Rydell helmet, you better give me a Rydell helmet. If you want my cleats to be Adidas, you better give me Adidas cleats. But then it's problematic when you see other teams that are able to be fully outfitted, head to toe, with 10 different uniforms. They all got black and white cleats. They all got gloves. And then you have other teams that barely have one fucking uniform.
Yep. It's got to be about growing the game, not growing your team or your, resume. Like, yeah, you know what? I like to win. Again, I went to Pitt because Chicago was done, right? So I had an opportunity to go play for Pittsburgh, and I had an opportunity to help some younger players. And like when I played for Cali, I flew myself out there. Like it was absolutely worth it, right? I didn't have to go to all the practices and all that, but it was about like helping. I want to grow the game. I went to Kansas City and worked with the Kansas City team and did some practices with them, worked with their O-line. It's about growing the game. I like to win. We all like to win. But if I can help grow the game, and that means that I sacrifice a little bit, it's about the greater good and for the next generation. And I think, yeah, like to Mark's point, it has to be, why are you scared of competition? Give all the teams the same opportunity and see what happens.
Well, so the new league, I come from men's semi-pro, so I am not a proponent of so many different leagues. I personally think it dwindles the competition, and it's just not good for the product. Back when I was playing, there were 2 and there was a startup, so there were 3. Now there's over 5, and yeah, you have you got the Spring Hill, which are like the Virginias. You still have the WFA. You still have NW. What's that one?
Okay, that would have been awesome.
That one. Then there's another one in Texas. Oh, and then the one that I think, yeah, there's a smaller one in Texas, and then you have the one Odessa and them starting.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It thins the talent pool.
Yes.
But you're walking a fine line between giving as many women the opportunity to play as possible and having a high quality product.
Correct. When Odessa announced that they were, thinking about it or whatever, if you wanted to, I inboxed her and I was like, look, This is who I am. This is my experience. Why not just go in with WFA or one of the other leagues that are already there and make that great? Don't start a new league. It's not needed. I'm telling you from experience. Nobody want to listen to me, but okay. So
That's
now
the history of women's football, though. I mean, it's the same way the WFA got started because people got pissed off about what was going on in the IWFL, and they were going to create this new league that was going to have these super teams in it, and there was actually going to be parity and competition and blah, blah, blah. And it was the same shit under a different title.
yeah, people don't realize women, we pay to play anywhere from what $700 to, I heard some teams are like $1,000. You're paying to play a sport that you think you love or you absolutely love, and then your team gets sponsorships. But hell, it costs to practice. Practice fields cost. Traveling expenses cost. Hell, even being on the team, you still got to come out of practice to get to a fucking game out of town. I remember in 2010 we drove to Dallas for the All-Star game. Where's this sponsorship money going? How do we get all just okay? I'm off my soapbox. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of it too is just because you pay to play doesn't mean you're good enough to play, right? And so that's where a lot of those teams divide off too. Is you get these players that are like, you're not good enough to start for this team, and you're upset about that, which is fine. You can be competitive, but like also be able to look in the mirror. And if someone's better than you and they're going to do better for the team, then they get to start. They get to play more. That's how it works in competitive sports. Then they end up starting their own teams because if they start their own team, then they get to pick. And that's where some of the problem happens too, is that like you have two teams in a market because people from one team were upset because they didn't get their way because they feel like because I pay a fee, I should get to play. Well, that's not what you're paying for. You're paying for your team's success sometimes. And that's, that's a hard pill to swallow for sure. Especially, I mean, I don't know what that's like. Marks doesn't know what that's like. Taz doesn't know what it's like. Like
I know what it's like.
You do, and you were a great teammate, but you were the unicorn.
But you know what? I actually I do. As going on to another team where these kids don't know me. They don't know what I've done, what I've accomplished. I had to walk onto that team and do everything I could to earn whatever playing time that I got, which was a new experience. It's something I have not experienced since hell 2007. But I'm not gonna bitch about it. I know that this is the type of player that I am. I'm gonna work my ass off to make sure that you know that this is the type of player that I am. But I feel like these kids don't have that mentality, right? Like it's just entitlement.
Yep.
Like I'm supposed to be on the field because I show up to practice every day, and I pay my player fees are all paid. But you're fucking terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, you could show up every day, all day. You could never leave this field, and you're still not going to be as good as this person on their worst day.
Yeah, and again, hard, but we've had states that like they just knew they were the punching bag, and they still showed up, and they still put themselves out there. And then you have these other ones that were getting all same. I'm like, look at that person. They get their ass beat every play, but you know what they don't do? They're not a practice hero. They don't cheat the play because they know what's coming. They know they're about to get rocked. You know what they don't do? They don't puss out. They don't do any of those things. And they just take it, and they're all about they are the loudest cheers on the sidelines, all that. And if more people could be that, it would be great. And that's definitely the difficult thing is when you have that player that, or the one that is mediocre and maybe could have that opportunity if they would just take the chip off their shoulder and realize we don't owe you anything. No one's owed anything on the football field. No one's owed anything. Play. You play for your team, you play for yourself. But if I can't like block for my running back, they're not going to care that I showed up to every practice and I tried real hard because they're getting their ass beat.
Every play.
So,
But you know what, you guys, I think that goes to the testament of the type of players that we grew into. Cam, you made a good point. When you started out, it wasn't that easy. Like you really had to come in and you had to earn and you had to work. When I started, it wasn't that easy. Petey, when you started, it wasn't that easy, but it was the character that's in us, that made us the caliber of players that we became to be. And I think looking at the league now, Am I proud of the evolution of the sport? Yes, because I had a small part in that evolution. But at the same time, I kind of like, oh, you guys are fucking it up because of the entitlement, because of the fact that you broke off or you went to this team or you did this because you wanted to make a better product. And in essence, you're not really making a better product. Boston, yes. You you got what's the owner in Boston? What's his name?
Goody's the owner.
No, but for the Patriots, you guys you somehow got him to kind of give you guys some type of backing, which is why you guys are getting a lot more publicity and things of that sort. But how can you continue to boast how you're such a champion when you're looking at the caliber of your competition that you play with in that championship game? Like that was such a joke in the parts. And when I look at Odessa, I love her gumption. I love her dream and where she's wanting to take the game to. But the manner in which she's doing it, I feel like is just a bunch of bullshit. Because I agree with you, Cam. The fact of, okay, Adidas is the sponsor, but Adidas is only sponsoring Dallas. That's not cool. If you're going to start this league and you have these teams paying this fee to be a part of this league, then all the teams should be able to benefit from that so you can build a better product. Because I think,
afford it.
exactly. And I think about the ladies that played before us, the Toledo Torpedoes, and those women, how they laid the foundation. Then here we come along and we really threw that bar up tremendously, and it's almost kind of like the bar kind of dipped back down because it's so watered down when you're looking at the women that's playing. Like I'm pleased that women are getting the opportunity to play this amazing sport, but at the same time, you should earn to play this sport because we truly earned. It was trial and error. We didn't get any type of slack at all whatsoever. It was actually a rite of passage.
Our Miller Lite
What'd you say, Petey?
Those Miller Lite t-shirts.
Hey, I still got mine. I still have mine.
The Miller Lite polo.
Oh God, that was terrible.
The only polo. We had to wash it every other weekend to make sure that we look uniform. I mean, wasn't even white anymore. I think it turned into like a light gray or
That's
something.
why we got black ones for next time.
But wait, some of those players, their black shirts turned into gray.
I mean, I think the point is that you knew when we were playing, you knew that there were going to be certain games that they were going to be good games, right? They were going to be dog fights. We played Boston. It's going to be a good game. Boston played DC. Boston played Pittsburgh. Any of these teams. Hell, we played Dallas. It's going to be a good game. I can't think of a single game in either league at this point where you just look at that game and you circle it on the schedule and you're like, this is going to be a good game, right? If it turns into a good game, it's a fluke. And then it starts, well, they didn't play their starters. And this didn't happen and this didn't happen. And there's all these fucking excuses about why this turned into a good game.
Shouldn't that be the goal?
Yeah.
Every game be a good game?
Isn't that the whole point?
Yep.
But that's how far and beyond like the Bostons and the Dallases are from everybody else that they're playing, is that it's a shock when they play anybody, and one, they get scored on, and two, it's even remotely close, right? I mean, Bama almost beat them, went for two, probably should have kicked it, time ran out, they lost. I mean, shockwaves through the entire WNFC that, oh my God, Dallas almost lost. Well, moral victories are for losers because Dallas didn't lose.
Yep.
So, it's just, it's a sad state of affairs when there's no game on the calendar and not even the championship. You can't even circle the championship game and say this is good.
Yeah. People don't like the NFL because every game.
Well, just any given Sunday. It doesn't apply to Saturdays.
Yep.
It's football.
Yeah.
It doesn't. So I want you guys to give a bit of advice
Oh,
to
hey, Kay, welcome back. Sorry.
oh, thanks. Thank you. I'm in Vegas on,
I
what
know.
is
I,
that?
I gotta I gotta jump back into my team thing. My boss just came out looking for me.
Sorry, Petey. Petey, one last thing before you
Yeah, yeah.
what is one bit of what's advice that you would give to someone who is interested in the sport?
Hey, you know what? Like, the game is bigger than you are, and don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of not excelling right away. Be a student of the game, because the more, like, you can try really hard if you're applying your art, your time to actually getting better at whatever it is you do. That's what's going to make you great, right? And not everybody is a wide receiver. Not everybody is a quarterback. There's lots of positions where you get the glory from your team, like defensive line, offensive line. We're not supposed to get stats. And too many people don't truly understand the sport of football and understand how important the offensive line and the defensive line are. The defensive line is the O-line for your linebackers, so your linebackers can look pretty. And the offensive line makes wide receivers, quarterbacks, and running backs look pretty. And if you don't understand the game, you're not going to understand that there's roles for everybody and excel at whatever that role is.
Thank you, Petey. I appreciate you for everything that you have instilled in me and what you have done for the sport. You have been amazing, my BOS. Thank
love
you.
you guys. Hey, Marks, I have an office in Alpharetta, so be ready because I'm coming your way.
I got room.
I bet. Hey, love you guys.
Love you too,
Bye.
Petey. So, Taz, what bit of advice would you give? Because I know what you gave me.
No, it's not. You're not entitled to this. This opportunity is an amazing opportunity, and take advantage of it. As I tell all you guys, introduce yourself accordingly. I think that's the best thing I can say. Introduce yourself accordingly, but be willing to be a student of the game. Um, what is it? Get in where you fit in. There's always a spot somewhere. So like Petey said, you may not be a receiver. I thought I was going to be a linebacker, but clearly some people had other ideas in mind when I started out. But be a student of it. Be willing to absorb and take in all that this game has to offer, because it can take you to some great places. It can give you some amazing opportunities, and can definitely make some people you don't like into some people that you love.
Mark?
It's not about you. It's not about individual stats. It's not about what you accomplish on the field. It's about what the team accomplishes on the field. And individual acknowledgement comes with team acknowledgement. And if the only reason that you're setting foot on this field is because you want to lead the league in receiving yards, or you want to lead the league in stats or sacks, but your team went 1-5 on the season, you're not helping your team. So football is, and I believe it was Kaneki that said this, is one of the very few sports in the world, if not the only sport in the world, that is 100% rewarded with effort. You don't have to be great. You just have to put in the effort.
I love that. I love that. I teach my boys that. Well, I teach my team that because I got some girls on my team, y'all.
Okay, no.
Taz, any day you want to come out and see them, I would love to have you be out and come and talk to the girls.
What you say, Pam? What you say?
Introduce yourself.
No,
I still have my pads.
No,
you don't need them.
They soft. Them. They can't handle Taz. They can't even handle Taz in retirement.
The first hit I took was from Pam Shafrath. They can handle it.
Well, I my first hit, I think, yeah, it was Taz and Ross.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you win.
Yeah, I did. And you was over there cracking up laughing at me. You was like, you weren't supposed to go that way.
It's a scheme
I don't
there
know.
for a reason.
I don't even know why I really like you, Cam, because when I was trying to be O line, yeah, you got through and hit my ass. I think I landed on my back. I'm not supposed to like your ass either.
I'm so lovable though. How could you not? I helped you out though. Maybe. Did I help you?
You did. You did. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from O line. I learned a lot. I learned a lot from the hit squad. I learned a lot from my mic. Um, Coach Baker, Coach Konecki, you know, Coach Stone. Oh my God, y'all don't even understand. I am a coach because of Coach Stone. Like I get him on the phone, like I don't understand this. I'm like I have put it in my head. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. He and I shop talk all the time. Hi, Frank Marshall. Um, it's just been good, and I'm like I have this relationship because of the force.
We had some outstanding coaches.
You know, very outstanding. I will say thank you both so much for taking time out, for joining. She said what she said. Um, People will be able to watch this, view it on YouTube. I'll make sure you guys get the link. Um, it's just appreciative. We don't live in the same city anymore. Hell, life is life. So to be able to be on the screen with you two bitches, um, it warms my heart. So thank you for all that you do, all that you have done, and all that you continue to do for, you know, the youngest when it comes to football and society in whole. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that's the wrap. Make sure you guys check out next week for She Said What She Said. I'm not gonna tell you who the guest is. You just gotta look out. Bye.
Later.
But yeah.
Yes, later.